Welcome to Noise with Ivan. I want to preface by saying I understand how preposterous the thumbnail of this video is. I worked too hard on it not to use it. And, yeah, I don't have Photoshop. I have Canva on my phone. And I don't have Photoshop to use. I have to do video editing. I obviously have to do a lot of audio editing. I don't have time to go back to photo editing. I know how to edit photos, but it's alright. You wouldn't have probably even noticed. Roll the intro. First album that I listened to today. There's some stuff that I listened to earlier this week as well, but I don't remember it as well. The first thing I listened to today was Sounds for the Office by Cody. Is it? And I had to Google how to or how to say the name because it's in Japanese. It's just like Japanese characters. I can't look at it and try to figure it out. But I'm sure there's a ton of stuff I pronounce wrong. You'll see later. Um, but it's like an O with a line on top of it. Cody. Um, he does all these Office themed um, releases. The reason it's in my collection, my Bandcamp collection, still what I'm going off of. The reason why it's in mine is because it's on the label Underwater Computing. I think is what it's called, if I remember correctly. And so because I bought the full discography from that label, I have had a kick of vaporwave music. And as I claimed in the last video, or in the last collection video, it isn't really um, there is some kind of connection between everyone who is just making music on their own and who makes music kind of easily, makes music kind of generally, but making music to fit an aesthetic and to build a collection essentially. And it seems like the purpose for music at this point. But I will say that vaporwave isn't is these artists definitely have their own thing going, and I think it's what you like. There's also like all the Sailor Moon dance beats, but those aren't. But those are like DJ mixes. Those are very different. It's not like vaporwave, which heck, this could be that way too. I don't know anything about it, but I will say that I put this on and it was practically smooth jazz. I put this thing on while I was working earlier and it helped a lot. My brain was shot trying to organize everything, and somehow I just found myself walking around the room instead of doing anything that I was supposed to be doing. I couldn't plant myself to work. Put this on, worked like a charm. Mm, it was fantastic. And I hadn't had any caffeine at that point in the day either, and I've held off till now, and I haven't had nicotine all week. No cigar all week. That's not me. That's gonna have to be me. So yeah, that this album, and it also made me think about working. Like I was working so much, and once I got into the groove of it, it felt so phenomenal. So what's the problem with work, and what's the good thing about work? I don't want to turn into a motivational speaker here, but if you feel like quitting your job, think about it this way. Can you quit your job? Why do you need your job? That's why you're working. Put it into that perspective, which I suppose that anybody goes down this lane. And but if you don't need your job and you don't like your job, then quit it. It's as simple as that. uh, so can you quit your job? And what do you need to do before you quit your job? Or is it that thing? Oh man, I watched the movie with Will Ferrell, But it could be that thing where you're like, I keep going from job to job. What am I going to do? Just go to another job that I'm going to leave in 4 years again? But I think it's a really, really good thing if you can find something to do, if you can just work and accomplish something. That's what gives value to other things in life. That's what gives value to art. That's what gives value to. And I had this perspective even when I had a regular job. That's what gives your. That's what gives value to art. That's what gives value to your family. And that's what gives value to your faith. This drives you. It's a positive thing to work. So make sure that you enjoy your work. And this album kind of got me to the point. It really helped with me enjoying my work, I suppose. Yeah. And monotonous work that I wasn't comfortable doing, I suppose. But I got to the point where I enjoyed it when I just pushed past. And I had all this stuff on this long queue. I still have a lot of work when I get done recording this to do. But just saying, it really benefited me in getting some work done. And then I moved on to noise. Specum, I'm going to say spec for now, but Sado Rituals will be happy to tell you how it's pronounced. Specum, and he'll be happy to tell you how it's pronounced in the comments. Anybody that knows, actually, in the comments, let me know. He had a split with Sado Rituals. I listened to both Sado Rituals and Specum and last week. And they were both very, very good harsh noise walls that were to my taste. And then they have a split that I found after I think I was looking it up so that I could add the cover to the video like I do when I put them up in front of this map here. And I saw that they had a split, and I was like, well, I gotta listen to that, because the Sado Rituals was like my favorite. So if I'm learning about a new artist and they have a split with Sado Rituals, then I gotta do it. And this was very good. I don't know if you're familiar with Sado Rituals, but you should be. And I have been increasingly becoming very comfortable with him as a noise artist. But in recent years, I think this is a recent thing that he's been doing. I don't know how old this is, but a lot of his stuff has this synth element, like a synthesizer that drones. It's a harsh noise wall, so it goes on forever. But there's usually a droning synth element. That is not 100% to my taste. But it's really interesting the way he uses it, because it almost makes a middle ground to where the high frequencies hug it on top and then the low frequencies hug it on the bottom. So that what it does is it just... It's as if it's a sine wave, and it accentuates that sine wave accentuates the noise and the crispiness of the noise on either angle. So it's not the kind of cool, calming avalanche that we generally get from harsh noise walls. He has a very interesting, complex style of harsh noise wall. And it really does. It has a different kind of ring. And I am not necessarily familiar with anyone else who does it quite like Sado Rituals does. He had one that was just absolutely... It was kind of like that avalanche, but it was a lot harsher and was consistently in your face and aggressive. Hailing Her Heavens. Mother of Sorrow, which It's same guy, Shremo, and but um, obviously different projects. We also have one of his CDs out. I've been pushing to get another CD out for him on the label. One of the things that's coming up. Um, but yeah, a lot of different side projects. But that one was why I made Famished. I had listened to that a few times as I was doing other things, probably reading. Um, and I just loved it. And then I was messing around on my synthesizers, and I got to the point where I had something that sounded like Mother of Sorrows, and I kept it. And then it sat on my computer for months, and then it was famished when I released it. So I named it Famished right away, but then I released it last week. I don't think I'm gonna do a release this week. Not to say I don't have anything, but I really need to release something every week. But I kind of do. My streams have been going up since I've been doing that. Just listen to it. Why don't I just tell you to listen to it? You can. So yeah, that what I was trying to say with back to the split that I'm trying to talk about right now. He really nails that synthesizer sound. It's not like the Avalanche harsh noise sound. It's the synthesizer harsh noise sound that he uses. That is, it really has that, and it really kind of, it's not aggressive necessarily. It's not an aggressive sound, but it definitely makes you uneasy. It's not a comfortable one. And then Specimen. Oh, I get it now, Specimen. It's like specimen a little bit. Maybe. Um, Specimen comes in with another harsh noise wall, which is how a lot of these work, is A side and B side. One harsh noise wall, another harsh noise wall. And that one was a very cool, calming harsh noise wall. And then what was interesting is I listened to Deary Darrow Darrow. Deary Darrow Darrow. So it's Deary, DeridDaro, and it's by Murder Me. And this was a release on Loud Silence. It's called Loud Silence Digital, so when it says the number of the release, it says LSD 17, so it's LSD, which is a fun way to put it. This reminded me very much of the Specimen. Oh, that's an I. I thought it was an L. It's very similar to that Specimen album. A very comfortable, very awesome harsh noise. There's like some movement, but that's, like I said, just because it's kind of drawn out, there seems to be movement. It's consistent, but there is a sense of movement, kind of. It's like a swampy movement as opposed to a stream. So it's very swampy. That's a good way to put it, as opposed to the Avalanche harsh noise wall. This is a swampy harsh noise wall. I wouldn't take it away from. I wouldn't not call it a harsh noise wall, but there does seem to be some movement. Something that definitely wasn't a harsh noise wall, though, and I should probably, was the Satanic Goose, The Sound of Burial. There's one more Satanic Goose to listen to, and I might want to wait to listen to it because this one was amazing. This might have been the best thing I listened to. I really, really liked everything I listened to this week. The Sound of Burial, anyway. The Sound of Burial was a really, really cool album just because of the consistency of it was different. I listened to a whole lot of harsh noise walls, so when it comes to Roman Shower and artists like that, it's pretty interesting. And even Stiglitz and things like that, it's pretty interesting when people change it up. And it got harsher as the album went on, but it really explored every different type of noise that we have. I couldn't even, as it says here, diverse and atmospheric mixture of modular synth melodies, drones, ambience, sometimes flavored with noise. Okay, so they don't even decide that they're noise. But yeah, it was definitely all over the place. Ambient is a great word for it. So that makes sense. Like, as opposed to it becomes harsher and harsher. It's ambient. This is before everything was AI art. There's a whole lot of AI art, and it's a real shame. Even though I really like some of it. Rejoice, O Death. Tremo said that he didn't like them because they had bad AI art, or at least the struggle, but I really enjoyed it. I just didn't think of it that way. If you think about it as AI art, it kind of ruins it. And of course, we're all using public domain art and just random stuff from online label discographies. So I'm at now I'm at 3,130 albums on my Bandcamp, and I should really listen to them all at least. I know I listened to Sounds for the Office twice because I actually listened to that earlier this week. I really should listen to everything at least 3 times. Old Toby, Shire Songs 1 and 2. I don't know if I mentioned this or not. I suppose it's on Forbidden Keep Records, yeah. They do a lot of cool dungeon synth, and I tend to be involved in the dungeon synth community to a point. I can only be so involved. It reminds me of Bo Hansen, Lord of the Rings. He had another one, though. And, Tom Bombadil's the greatest character. I don't know. I was really upset when I found out he wasn't in the movies. Magician's Hat and Attic Thoughts were both really great records, too. It reminded me of those. I really like, we all, I was telling my mom earlier that I like when they don't leave the main set. Lord of the Rings, I feel like, not that I think Lord of the Rings should have been anything else. I don't actually particularly like Lord of the Rings, to be honest with you. I like Narnia better. Maybe upsetting some people. It's okay. Trust me, it's okay. I understand. I like Narnia a lot better than Lord of the Rings. I prefer it to be more allegorical. I understand that Pilgrim's Progress might not be far enough. I understand that Pilgrim's Progress might be too allegorical. You have Pilgrim's Progress over here, Lord of the Rings over here. Both are a little bit too far. Narnia's in the middle. That's why I like Narnia. Okay? I had emotional reaction to Narnia. And Lord of the Rings, oh no, it's more about the characters. It's not really about it's not really about God that much. But I do understand all of this. And I apologize for getting sidetracked. There is so much longing for enjoying the Shire at the very beginning of the first book. I think is the only. If you had that in the first book, and you had it in the first Hobbit as well, a little bit of that, and maybe like at the end of some of them, there's some Shire action, but there's not a whole lot going on in the Shire throughout the whole story. But that is celebrated. That song, da, 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 da. Everybody loves that song. That's Lord of the Rings. That's why people love Lord of the Rings, because of what they built. And I think that's what Dungeon Synth is. I mean, don't we just want to enjoy fantasy and not have to have a stressful story? I mean, do we have to go on an adventure every time? Why don't we just stay here? Why can't we just stay in the Krusty Krab when we watch SpongeBob? Why do we have to go on an adventure? That's why I'm here. I'm watching the show because I want to be at the Krusty Krab. Anyway, keep an eye out on notoftheflesh.bandcamp.com. I'm going to try to figure out a way to clear out some space so that we can get more stuff made, and I think we should be doing pre-orders soon as opposed to, and we should be doing cassettes soon as opposed to just the CDs. But I really enjoy making a CD library. It's kind of like the same thing as the way Bandcamp works, but just CDs. They're not a storage issue. They don't cost anything to make, so other people can make them and trade them. Anybody can make them and trade them. You're running like $2 a disc. And yeah, that's why I like making those CDs and those thin vinyl style sleeves. And it reminds me of 7-inch vinyl, to be quite frank with you. Um, I like that, but most noise fans tend to prefer cassettes. So most of the noise stuff that does well on Gates of Hypnos will be going through pre-order. Um, and um, yeah, feel free to grab some stuff. Please do. We have to move it, and if you have any ideas for what you would like, if there's a lot of stuff that you would like, if you would have um, yeah, if you have any ideas, or would, if there's anything that's on Gates of Hypnos that you want to be released on Not of the Flesh, put it in the comments section. Any other ideas or thoughts for me? I'm sure you have some criticisms for my poor style of YouTube podcasting. I'm just doing what I can, folks. Be in prayer. Read your Bibles.